I was having kids in my year group throwing tables across the room. They were like swearing back at the teacher. Some one guy jumped on the table, took off the fire alarm off the ceiling.
Yeah, it's easy to understand school exclusion, but life exclusion, I think it happens to such a level.
Life exclusion is deep, because you've gone to a level where you think you're too far gone.
Go?
Thanks. So.
Cool, let's start.
Alright, yeah.
Bismillah, in the name of Allah, Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah, peace, blessings and salutations be upon the final messenger, Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So today, our guest is Yasin, from Birmingham.
How you doing, guys? You right?
Before we get into your story and your journey and your mission and your vision, let me just let the audience know. So Yasin's been working in youth work, let's see, for just over a year, right?
Yeah, just under a year.
Just under a year.
Just under a year.
Yasin's originally from London.
Essex too.
Essex.
Yeah.
From Essex.
Can't claim London yet.
Can't claim London yet.
Can't claim London ever, to be honest with you.
And you are studying what at uni?
I'm studying criminology at uni.
Criminology. And I guess whilst you're at uni, you have the youth work thing.
Yeah, so I've been doing youth work for the last year. When I was on my second year of uni, and then now I'm going into my placement year. Hope to be doing another year of youth work.
Nice, excellent. Before we get into the youth work, I'd like to just ask a bit of your upbringing.
Okay.
And maybe how that, we'll just go through each phase. We won't go through each year, but we'll just go through phases, right?
Okay.
What I find really interesting about your story is that you spent 5 years in Turkey, and then you came to Essex.
Yeah.
Right? How was it growing up in Turkey?
I'll be honest with you. So I spent my early years in Turkey. So for me, a lot of the memories that I have there I can't even say there's a lot of them. They're quite limited because when you're young, you don't really remember everything that goes on, So I'll be honest with you, my knowledge of Turkey, when I was small, I didn't really have that much. I was based in, a lot of all my information was from like stories from my mum and dad, to be honest. And recently I've returned to Turkey a lot older, and I've kind of learned a lot more about my family, etc.
How many siblings do you have?
I have one sibling.
Okay, a brother and sister?
One brother, yeah.
And you're older?
And I'm the oldest one.
Okay, nice. And then when you came from Turkey to Essex, to the UK, were you fluent in English?
Yeah. Okay, so when we first came, we actually came to a place called Clapton. Oh my God, this place, man! You can just search it up on TikTok or something. There's nothing there, man. There's nothing there. It's just on some coast area of the UK. It's a council estate area, and that was when I first came to the country. That was it, and I was going to school. I was just learning English, My Turkish wasn't even like altogether fluent, to be honest, because you're still young.
Do you have any memories of when you first came to the island?
I think I have that one memory specifically. I remember we were in the house, and my dad is returned back from work basically, and he had this like bin bag, and I was thinking, got this bin bag for, and he was like to my mom in Turkish, she was like, someone's offering this free laptop. I was thinking, what? I was confused, thinking someone in the council estate in Clapton near Jaywick is giving you a free laptop for that. He's like, oh yeah, no, it wasn't free. The guy asked for £100, and my dad just gave him the money, but then there was nothing inside the bag. He's got scammed. There's nothing inside the bin bag in the box. It was empty. I'm thinking, how did you fall for that? Like, you're from Turkey, bro. You should be knowing that people are going to do stuff like that.
Okay, nice. So you moved here. How would you say your early teen life was like?
My early teen life?
Yeah. When you first started like secondary school.
Okay.
Also, did you grow up, like where you grew up, did you have a big Turkish community there? Did you have a Muslim community there? or would you say you were like of the minority?
No, okay, I'll be honest. As I was growing up, I definitely was the minority. Although at the time, when you're young, you don't really notice that.
Yeah.
The area I was in was predominantly white area, and you know that was something I didn't really come to understand until my later years of secondary school. To be honest, because I think most people from maybe areas which aren't as mixed will kind of understand that when you're growing up in a white area, you don't really clock it at first. To be honest, well, at least I didn't. It was just kind of go to school, have my normal friends, that kind of thing. It wasn't really a case of, I'm the only one that's kind of out.
Yeah.
And that kind of came later on when I started to hear those things. And it was something that I didn't really clock straight away.
Yeah, that's interesting. In terms of during secondary school, are there any moments that stick out to you? Would you say that your life was probably similar to a normal teenager, whatever that means? Or are there anything that felt different about growing up?
I think as I progressed through the years of secondary school, I got a little more confident. When I first joined, I wouldn't say I was that confident as a young person. I kind of stuck to my 4 friends. I was a comic book nerd. I still comic book nerd, but you know, I was not that cool kid, whatever you want to say. And
you weren't like out there, like
I wasn't doing the most, to be honest. I was quite chubby. Had my little Turkish beard coming through. And
how old were you when?
I was probably I had mustache when I was in year 6, man. It was straight off the bat, the mustache was there, you know. And then it just kind of more facial hair. I was like, okay, I guess I just have kind of associated with that. And I stuck with my friend group, to be honest with you, quite tightly. And then as I got older, maybe year 9, year 10, I started to get a bit more confident. I started actually, it's probably worth saying that I came to my primary school. I didn't do well in my SATs at all. I flopped my SATs. So I came into the bottom sets of secondary school. Yeah. And I saw crazy stuff in the bottom sets. You know, you said that is the moments that stick out, man. I was having kids in my A group through tables across the room. They were swearing back at the teacher. I was thinking, this place is mad. I had one guy jumped on the table and he took off the fire alarm off the ceiling. Yeah. I was thinking, what the hell? And then as I was starting to work more, I was like, I can't be in these sets anymore. Are you mad? So I was like, okay, let me try and work up. I was like, Mom, these guys are crazy. She's like, yeah, you got to work hard. I was like, why did you fail your sets for? I was like, I was scared, innit? And I didn't know what to do. I think I did 5 times 5 was 50. I remember that vividly. I don't know why I wrote that. And then as I started to progress through the sets, and I was thinking, okay, I'm meeting new people now. But bearing in mind, I've already met the people in the bottom sets. So now I'm moving up to the top sets. As I go through school, I'm kind of meeting new people and I'm feeling more confident because I have to speak to new people.
Did you finish in the top sets?
Maths, yeah, bare minimum. Yeah, I did finish, and that was something I was proud of because I worked hard to do that. So
yeah. Did you ever get in trouble while you were at school, or were you more avoiding trouble?
I wouldn't say that I got in too much trouble in school, to be honest. And if anything, that I feel like my reputation in school was something that I can ask some of my friends from secondary school. They would say that I was someone that was respected, you know. Whenever there was a situation in school, it'd be like, oh, where's Yasin? Where's Yasin? Or they say my name, where's Yasin? Because they're my name, right? And then I'll be there to either sort that situation out or wherever, whether it was fights or whether it was after school stuff, or I would always try. I'd always be there.
You got that. You still got that.
Yeah, I guess that kind of transfers a bit over to now, to be honest.
Yeah, nice. Did you ever was there ever a moment where you ever got in trouble or no?
Like a significant moment.
Yeah, significant
moment. At one point, yeah. So imagine that. Okay, we'll talk about it then. Okay, so I remember there was this Dipsy traveler kid at the school, right? Yeah, and from that community, and I must have got into some altercation or whatever. And I thought, okay, it's gonna end at school because I don't normally get into these kind of situations. So I was thinking, okay, so it's trying to push the Turkish guys' limits a little bit. I was thinking, who are you, man? Okay. Then after school, I thought, cool, scrap him, obviously, do what you're doing it. But I ended up, I was thinking, it's taking a long time to get to the location. I see what's that in the distance. I'm seeing like 20 man pull up thinking, I'm not trying to do that. I don't even get into these situations. Let me just try and avoid. Then they started running. I was thinking, I'm running as well. Bye. I was not going to take on 20 mats.
At that moment, how did that make you feel? Obviously, you probably were scared at the moment. But when you reflected it there and then, like...
Yeah, I reflect on it. I can't lie. I made the right thing, to be honest. I wasn't trying to fight 20, you know. But at the same time...
Why even fight one person if you don't need to, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I was always someone that was naturally, I think due to my family situation, quite good at dealing with confrontation. I'd always be someone that could de-escalate before it could get worse. In this particular situation, I kind of just did it because it was kind of, I don't know, I could have de-escalated, but I just got up in the moment. I was like, hey, whatever, it's just one guy in it. And then, but apart from that, to be honest.
And how did that end up? What was the ending of that? Did you see him at school again?
Yeah, I saw him at school again. And I think it was a case of, I was like, don't bring your man there next time. It's just the one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. It's petty stuff, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not someone that was involved too much in anything like that.
Nice. When you went to do your when you finished school, what did you do after that? Did you go?
So yeah, after I finished school, I moved on to go into college. At college, I wanted to study criminology. That's something that I always wanted to do from about year 10 onwards, I would say, because several friends that I was having at the time, they, I was thinking to myself, okay, people going down different avenues nowadays.
Yeah.
And I was always kind of interested in going, okay, cool. Yeah. This particular situation with my friend, and he decided to involve himself in selling drugs, etc., etc. So from then, I was thinking, I would always try to tell him, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that kind of thing. And why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And from there, I think that just to know, I kind of got interested. I was like, why do people commit crime, etc., etc. So now I chose criminology, psychology, and experimental science.
Okay.
For my A levels.
Yeah.
And I mean,
you went on to study that at uni.
Yeah, I went to study criminology at uni from there.
Yeah, nice. So obviously, at some point you got into youth work. In terms of working with young people, why do you do it?
Why do I work with young people? So actually, I'll probably start with one of the main reasons why I got me hooked in the first place was I was working for the YMCA as I turned 16. So literally as I came out of year 11, my mom made me aware of a job in the area that was basically working for the YMCA and running the summer school camps for young people there. And I was thinking, okay, I'll apply for it where I'm cool. But the job entailed that you have to have 2 years experience of working with young people, and you have to be like, this qualifications. I thought, I'll apply anyway, whatever, calm, I'll try and see if I can get in. Calm, because I need some extra money, whatever. Kebab shop's not doing it anymore. So we went there over to the interview place, and they were like, okay, what experience do you have? I was like, I helped out previously in school. They were with like summer school projects for some of the kids there. I was just passionate, basically. Yeah. And somehow managed to get a job after the interview. And they were like, oh, we don't normally do that, but we're going to give you a chance. I said, okay, cool. And I was thinking, I get some money. But then I actually got into the role, and I noticed that I was good at working with young people. We're talking like maybe 10, 8 to 10. 8 to 12, maybe, quite young. Age group, I was thinking, I'm actually good at, telling them where to go, what to do, everything. I was alright, and I liked it. It was draining, but I liked it.
What about it did you like? Was it just the engagement?
No.
Was it the impact of the engagement? Was it like juggling different things? What was it?
I think a lot of it was like to do with me just interacting with the kids. Like, I didn't know that kids were going to be so. I'm kind of a small family in it, so I didn't know kids were going to be like, wow, like what the relationship was going to be with them, and the way that I had an impact on them. They were like, since in today, I was thinking, I like that, because I didn't really get a treat. So I don't know. I was always good at kind of communicating with them as well, and just to see them laugh and have a good time. It was good.
How long did you end up staying at the YMCA for?
I I actually did a lot of my work on and off there. So every half term I would go and do a summer camp there.
Nice.
And or winter camp, whatever it was. And I did that even though I was still in my first year. Actually, I still would go back
Yeah.
to Essex and do summer camps there as well.
Nice. It's really cool. From that point onwards, from enjoying it to now being committed to it, because I've come to Dream Chasers, I've seen the work you guys do, and mashallah, you got like a really good team there. One of the things that really stood out to me about Dream Chasers was you had sisters that set the place up. I think the core, what I found a lot within the Muslim community is there aren't always as many sisters in the space, and to come and see, you know, the point of view run by sisters was really nice. And it really has that family feeling. Like,
It does.
it's not in the sense of, you could see there like 10 families, maybe more or less slightly, that make up a core of the people that attend, or they become like family at least. Going from Essex to Birmingham,
It's a bit of a jump.
and then working in a community that you didn't grow up with, right? How have you found that?
I think you need to be a certain kind of person to go and do that. So for me, I've always been someone that wants to go out of my comfort zone. I think, like, I mean, I was doing assemblies towards the end of my year 11. I was going to stand in front of 300, 400 kids. And like ever since then, even going to the YMCA, it's something new. Like, none of my friends would apply for a job like that. But I was thinking, why not? I try something new. I always kind of had that instinctive in myself, and I knew I was going to leave Essex as soon as I had the chance to, because it was limited in its opportunities I had available. I'm someone like, okay, cool, why not? I'll go into the deep end, cool. So I went to Birmingham. After my first year in uni, I thought, okay, I like it. I like my course. I like everything. Now it's time to get my hands a bit dirty, trying to get into the community stuff. It's all right doing academics. You need to have some experience. Exactly. So my boy actually, he told me about a youth center that he was taking his brother to. And I was like, okay, did they have any volunteering roles available? At the time, I was working at a comic book shop, actually. So I was like, oh, look, I thought it was my dream job. But I was thinking, I need to get some experience relevant to my field as well. So I started to volunteer at Dream Chasers. And I think that when you do come from somewhere like Essex to somewhere like Birmingham, it's a huge jump. I was kind of blown away when, like I told you, growing up, I was like maybe one odd Turkish kid in the classroom, a bit chubby with some facial hair, but then I'm in a completely different environment where the whole community is Muslim. We're all Muslim. And that kind of excited me. I was thinking, okay, cool, now I'm in somewhere different. Now I can kind of find my place a bit. And it is a big jump, to be honest.
The only thing I would say to that is, I think when a lot of people leave their home, sometimes that's also helpful in like really knowing who you are. Once you left, like 100%, once you left the home. In your opinion, Dream Chasers isn't a mosque. What about your opposite, the masjid? In your opinion, what importance do you see by the way that Dream Chasers as an organisation? What importance do you see is still for it? Like, let's leave the impact measurement forms and like just like from your emotion or from your just from your experience.
I think what I see from me being there in last year that I've been there, and honestly speaking, I'm going from what I've seen, it's almost like I can see childhood memories being formed in front of me. That's something crazy. Like, to see that, a kid's gonna look back in time and go, oh, that's when I was there, I was doing that, I was playing. And even the oldest, I'm seeing them making memories like residential trips, etc., etc. Forget, I'm part of history right now. Do you get Dream Chasers doing something for these kids that they're gonna remember? That they're doing something rather than whatever else they could. They're doing something positive. And for me, that community, to have that as a backup, is something that, as a young person, when I was in Essex, I didn't have certain kind of, options that they have. I'm thinking, these men, like, they have a lot, and they can utilize this, they can go through from it, they can use it, it's there. And I should set that up to be that kind of lifeline in a way, and to be that kind of community foundation for a lot of young people to go through.
Excellent. In terms of mosques, what role do you think mosques from your experience in working with various forms of youth work now, from the YMCA to Dream Chasers and studying stuff at uni. What role do you think mosques can have, or should be playing, if they're not already, that has that type of impact on teenagers?
Mosques can't be linear anymore. Mosques need.
What do you mean by that?
Mosques need to be adaptable, and the times nowadays, they can't just afford to be kind of there and redundant for a lot of young people, or maybe just in and out. They need to be able to fit the times.
Yeah.
So I believe we must go about that in particular through how do they engage young people, because we focus so much maybe on certain Islamic programs, certain Islamic perspectives, maybe that fits the older generation, but we forget we have a younger generation as well. They're going to replace the older generation. Where's the deen for them? They're facing different kinds of struggles from the olders, and I know that's been a sentiment for a long time now. People know that they require a different kind of solution. That's okay. Everyone knows that. But what are we doing about it? We're not transforming the landscape. We're not maybe going in there and doing it. And I think as we're going to speak about maybe organizations like Here for Youth, they're making that transformative effort. But I mean, for now, we must need to clock, look, this is not going to be sustainable going forward. We need to have some kind of youth provision in there. We need to engage more in the community. We need to have a more multi-agency approach. We need to come up with a holistic angle, not just for youth violence, but just in terms of youth engagement, like running stuff.
Yeah, which takes me to my other questions. I always at the big effort about the problems of childhood.
Yeah,
we haven't spoken about the benefits and the nice moves, and we do that sometimes, as I did just now. The way that I would put it normally is actually mosques have always had, like, they've done their job for the community.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is, if you look at some of the older generation, when they came to England, let's say they were from the Somali community, the Pakistani community, a lot of men normally migrate and they will send money back home, which is quite common. So when they built the mosque, they needed a place to pray, and they needed their community.
Of course.
And that's what they needed at the time. So they actually did what they needed.
They did what they needed, yes.
And now that we're born here, and we have family, we have children, we're like second, third, fourth generation. The requirements have developed, and I think it's important that we just carry on the work of the uncle.
That's it. The uncle set the foundation, you know. They built that, and not to take anything away from them, because I know certain mosques are pillars of a community.
Yeah,
but it definitely needs to be passed over. And I think that passing over, we're starting to see it.
Yeah. How would you say that doing youth work has benefited your life?
How has youth work benefited my life? First of all, I would say it's brought me a lot closer to my deen. I don't know if I touched on it in the beginning of my childhood, innit? But my deen, you know, when we came over to England, etc., I don't think I had this traditional kind of deen upbringing. I wasn't going to like any classes or anything like that. Islam was kind of something that was a bit foreign to me. I knew it was there, but if you know Turkish people and you know the community, it's hard to say that everyone is always on it to get it.
Yeah. No, we all do
that. And obviously, I live with my mom for a large portion growing up as well. And my mom is not Muslim as well, so a lot of kind of what I was kind of hearing from outside sources, it was kind of little bits and pieces. Do you get it? And my deen, it wasn't as strong. It was kind of loose, I would say. I knew a lot about it when I started to come and educate myself later years.
Yeah.
So coming to a community like Birmingham and now specifically working with the youth, I haven't got a pattern up because I'm a role model now. I'm going to be mentoring certain kids and I'm going to be in certain environments.
Yeah.
And naturally that kind of deen elements kind of creeps through as well, because now I'm in areas and I'm in spaces where they're surrounded by Muslims. People are looking to me as a mentor. People are looking to me to have good character. So I have to have good character in them situations.
What I found quite powerful when you spoke was, you know what, like wherever we are in life, it doesn't really matter. by you choosing, that you chose for yourself, right? That and in whatever way it means to you, whatever the next step is for you, we will have a different next step, and we will have different struggles. And it's not out of humility. Like, I'm in different places, delivering workshops, etc.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean like I'm a perfect person, right? There's millions of people much better than me.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. But what I found really powerful is that you made the choice, whatever that is. And I find that really cool. And I can imagine how youth work helps with that as well. Because to a level you can't be fake. You got to keep it real. And I think the more people keep it real and they just be themselves, then you'll find it much easier to actually have a relationship with your Lord. Which takes me on to my next question. You touched on to the benefit of youth work is bringing you closer to Allah, right? Or with your deen. How would you say being someone who submits to Allah, being a believer, right? How would you say that impacts you in your day-to-day work?
Being a Muslim and being a believer in my day-to-day work. It's taught me a lot of empathy. I mean, now I feel like because of my deen getting to a certain level, you know, when you start to practice Islam to the best you can, one of the fundamentals you have to have tawakkul. You have to have the belief that, you know, Allah's going to guide you, and you have to be understanding of His mercy. So in doing so, you yourself, if you read the verses, if you ponder them, if you understand, okay, look, Allah is the most merciful, Allah is He's the most forgiving, then you start to envision, okay, what's my character like? Am I a merciful person? Am I forgiving? If Allah's going to forgive me for this amount of sins, or He can forgive me for this amount of sins, then how am I not to forgive, or who am I not to be able to show mercy upon someone else?
Wow.
So for me, a lot of compassion goes into my youth work. Maybe sometimes it's easy to lose your temper, it's easy to become angry, but a lot of confrontation resolves down to how merciful you are, how compassionate you are, you know.
It's interesting, even from an Islamic perspective, the one who is merciful to the one on earth receives mercy from the one above the skies. The one who covers some of the shortcomings, their shortcomings are covered. And obviously there's this principle of karma, which isn't an Islamic belief, generally speaking. In Islam, we have, our belief is the way you treat other people is how Allah will treat you. That's like throughout the sunnah you see it. And then we obviously believe in destiny, which is written and can get impacted. If I said 5 years from now, right, where would you like to see the local work that you're involved in? What's your vision for the next 5 years?
5 year goal, you know. It's a big question. But I'll be honest, my current which I've started, I guess it kind of lends into this because it's what I'll be carrying out for the next years following.
What's the role exactly?
That role is as a family and youth intervention officer.
And you just did the training today?
I just did some training today. Essentially, my role will be to reduce serious youth violence in the community of small Heath and surrounding.
Through family intervention.
That can also touch on areas such as reducing school exclusions, improving behaviour, reducing antisocial behaviour. Basically, a holistic approach to helping youth. And if I'll be carrying that work out, we have some goals of making sure that the violence can be reduced. So in my head,
it's a root cause approach.
It's a root cause. You get right from the bottom. It's not something like addressing a problem which has already occurred. It's stopping the problem from occurring in the first place.
There's something I like about some of the work the violence reduction units are doing.
The violence reduction, 100%.
As in the core of their work isn't to approach young people once they've been arrested. It's about approaching
stopping, because doesn't it make sense? Like, I've always had this perception. Prevention is important. That's why I studied criminology in the first place. Because why do people get involved in the first? Okay, yes, you can say it's for a certain reason, which are petty. But a lot of the time, if you understand from a fundamental standpoint, there's structural things which are not right in the family or not right in a person's life. they're going to engage in that. They feel like they have to engage in it.
Yeah. It's like now, like shoplifting's gone up,
Mm-hmm.
and it's big in the whole political conversation at the moment. But for me, like, it's got so bad to such a.
I mean, was it the co-op has like? I mean, I saw a video of the co-op or something like that. Like, it's spiked by like 300%.
Exactly. But why does someone steal food that they need to eat? Like, it might be someone taking it to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
But why are they in that situation in the first place? Even why would someone buy it or someone who's stolen it? Like, why did everyone in that situation in the first place? It's like dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't ask the question. You're 5 years.
Sorry, yeah, okay.
Or maybe I took you off.
No, that's fine. We'll keep going on to it again.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would like to see myself and the people that I work with try and create a new relationship with schools and take on a holistic approach to the community action. I want to see a partnership where, okay, if a young person is at risk of potentially being excluded, that the right solutions are pushed straight away as possible to solve that. I don't want to hear or know in the community that young people are falling through the gaps. I think one of the main things that we would try to achieve is ensuring that as many people are caught through that net as possible.
You said when young people and the rest come up,
Mm-hmm.
what does that actually look like in practicality? Give me an example.
So certain risk factors of a young person.
Yeah. You keep it. Don't give me real examples. Just in case we don't want.
I mean, certain behaviors that they might be displaying, certain attitudes, isolation from other friends. I mean, certain triggers, certain impulsive behavior, potentially how they treat others. I mean, these are small things that
You can pick up.
you can pick up on if you know, and who do you contact in regards to that, because it's just going to escalate.
Yeah.
It's going to escalate, and I know it's very like kind of shallow to assume that it just goes from one thing to the next thing without any kind of other input. But a lot of the cases do escalate if they're not picked up on.
Yeah.
And it's important that you pick up on them as early as you can.
Yeah.
So for GMJs, I think doing it on a much larger scale, pushing a lot of energy into them projects, having a relationship with the mosque, having a relationship with other partner organizations, even the council, even just pushing it so it can be developed more holistically. Because right now it seems like a lot of fractured, especially in Birmingham. I say there's lots of people doing a lot of work, but it's kind of fractured.
It's all in clusters.
Yeah. And having a holistic approach means cool. All the resources are gotten through as fast as possible, and the situation can be resolved.
Yeah. What's your other youth work as someone who's on the ground, right? If you had a £5 million budget, £5 million for local areas, community, if any, how much would you spend on policing, and how much would you spend on like community development and youth work and having programs, and how would that ratio look like?
A very tough question, because I know
There's no right or wrong answer. Like, I want to know your opinion on it.
I think there's a lot of people in the space who would be able to answer that question a lot more because they've had a lot more years of experience.
Yeah.
I feel like speaking on that issue, as someone that has had limited experience, I wouldn't be able to kind of do the justice that it requires. However, saying that, I do understand that the topic of policing, as much as the government wants, I have a certain opinion on policing myself, but as much as the government wants to kind of push for that as a kind of
solution to crime,
solution or punitive measures to crime, and I know it's a lot of people even online say crackdowns, punishment harsher is not. It's like more preventative methods are not the solution. But the government, from when I have started to work, I haven't seen certain measures pushed to prevention and at the rate at which they could be. So how can we negate prevention as a particular method if the most hasn't been done for that particular issue? I think you could negate that after you at least put money into as much resources as you can into that. But unless it's still not been, the most has still not been done, you shouldn't be going to this alternative. I think it's important to look on both sides of the scale when considering something like that. To be honest, especially the 5 million, it's a lot of money, and I feel like giving an answer which is straight off my lips wouldn't be
doing it justice.
Wouldn't be doing justice.
No, it's a question that makes sense. Some people would say there's no need for police at all.
Mm-hmm.
But or some people say we need a completely different system and structure. The reason why I ask is, how confident are you that the work you do stops someone from doing crime? I guess would be my next.
It's a tough question, man. It's a tough question again, because
Well, not even crime, or like it could be, because sometimes we just look at it, I don't know, if you do like something like, you can look at different impact.
okay,
If someone's really struggling mentally,
yeah,
they're not having really bad anxiety, right? People might say, oh, this generation has become soft, or my view on that personally is, we've got to such a state where people are losing it mentally, on a scale that we've never seen it before. It doesn't have to, so when we just think about crime,
yeah,
like if someone has really bad anxiety, therefore can't go to work,
yeah,
therefore they won't be giving back into the system financially, therefore there'll be, and there's nothing wrong if someone's in this situation, there's nothing wrong with it,
of course.
but then there might need to be a job seeker allowance or universal credit.
Of course, I know very people on that. Of course,
Exactly, whereas if you were able to support someone in their personal life and then help them get employment, as an example, straight away you can see that
more benefits for the community.
exactly,
Of course, rather than policing, etc., etc.
yeah,
Not to say that it's something that shouldn't be there entirely. However, when it comes to the issue which you just touched upon, young people need support. No, and I don't think people that are not in the sector should comment on it, because you're not in the sector doing the work.
yeah.
So yes, you can have your opinions, but do you know these young people day in, day out? Do you know what they need the most? Are you helping the cause, or are you just sitting on and you commenting? Because realistically, people, they're going to have opinions no matter what. But we as the professionals, we're people who are working in and day out, I think we have more of a say in terms of what kind of help young people need. I would say that.
Definitely. Like I remember, I think like Akana was really like known for saying some of these things. He would speak about exclusion in prison, right? But something that I've been picking up on more actually than that. Okay, we've all understood there's a link between exclusion and prison. But one thing we haven't picked up on, and I think sometimes people from outside don't see, sometimes if you're having a good life, you don't realize what people are going through. Some people are excluded from society. Forget about school.
Yeah.
Some people are excluded from their families, from their friends. They don't have friends. They feel like they're a burden on people.
Or issue.
And for me, it's easy to understand school exclusion, but life exclusion, I think it happens to such a level.
Life exclusion is deep, because you've gone to a level where you think you're too far gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you talked about prison, the school to prison pipeline, I think, objectively speaking, even if you were to look at the statistics, when you say, harsher crackdowns, etc., etc., what do you mean harsher crackdowns? Because do you want more people in prison? Prison population is reaching nearly 90,000. I mean, you have over 54,000 people who get excluded as a young person entering the prison system. That's over half.
Yeah.
If you were to look at the problem from a critical point of view, you understand, look, punitive measures are not doing the work that they need to be doing.
Yeah.
And I think people need to take a more critical approach to this, thinking outside the box. Maybe it's, introducing positive measures which, as a side effect, reduce youth violence, not just potentially the issue itself. Or maybe another issue would be, let's think collectively, we know the main causes already, but what are we actually doing to stop it? Because,
like if someone's really busy, like with life, in your opinion, as someone to be doing it, what can they do? Someone who's got
their mouth shut, man.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
But then I would also say the opposite. If you hear, especially now as we come to an election, and like the whole political divide is going to be like used, they use it with Brexit around like immigrants and borders. And they worked for them in the 2019 election. You can see they're already using with asylum seekers and stuff like that.
Of course.
I think I would challenge you and just be quiet. I think if you see something wrong, you should read about it, ask people about it, and challenge it.
I mean, of course you should do that. Of course, I think what I was saying was people that are quite ignorant to the topic before commenting, they should keep their mouth shut. If they want to go educate themselves and come back to the conversation, they should do that. But right now, a lot of the kind of feedback from people who don't have any involvement, your opinion is not really doing anything.
Yeah.
So that's, of course, go educate yourself, come back to the conversation and add something that's relevant, add something that's unique. But
it sounds like, it's interesting we're talking because we live in such a social media type world. In terms of what can someone do? If someone wants to, let's say someone lives like within 3 kilometers of Dream Chasers.
Yeah.
What type of support do you think they can give their time towards in this issue? Someone who's maybe not studied anything.
They want to give time to it.
Yeah, let's say they want to give time.
They want to give time to it.
Yeah.
Then I think first of all you should outreach to your youth centres, see what they're requiring. Go and see the young people yourself, and then come to a judgment, because you can think of all the stuff that you might think would be relevant as an adult, but until you go to the young person, you can kind of assess, okay, I understand I had a colleague, he wasn't a colleague at the time, but he went on a trip, and he had no kind of involvement within, the youth sector at all.
Yeah.
He's gone on to the specific trip. He's got, whoa, this is an issue. He started to talk to the young people. Oh, this might be something that I need to look at. Wow, okay. My man's gone off and gonna get a job in the same sector. So, he understood there was particular issues. He worked with the young people. I mean, go and see them firsthand. They're not, go and just help out your local youth centre if you have to.
Yeah. The thing that I would add maybe to that is, even if you're not gonna, let's say, be involved with an organisation, I think to a basic level, everyone can have some understanding what you feel like is an important for it.
True.
I think in this day and age, everyone, if you've got a son, if you've got a daughter, nieces, nephews, neighbours, friends, to a level, you have to have some ability in engaging teenagers. Like, everyone needs to.
100%.
And I would say just start speaking to people. When you see like young people, obviously you don't force a conversation, but but be prepared to have a conversation. I remember I was walking with someone once, and they were like a group of guys on side of that. I look at them, they're just, I'm like, you don't even know why.
You don't even know, man.
Yeah.
Why are you speaking to them?
Yeah, and then we ended up speaking to them, and his eyes just his whole idea changed. Because that was their safe space, that corner, probably unfortunately, because we want to have better safe spaces for people, right? Or not, you can still be outdoors, it's fine.
Of course.
But I think people should just, if you're not sure, think well of people, and just get in the habit of maybe
as Muslims coming from this conversation,
yeah,
judgment is a big part of the deen. How are you judging someone? Are you going to assume the worst from a first initial look, or are you going to assume something positive? If you assume something positive and you go into that conversation, then at least you're expecting the best.
And we know even about semantic excuses, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, the whole thing of making semantic excuses for someone, someone we see this as black and white, let me just make excuses. It makes excuses.
Yeah.
What it really does, if you do it sincerely and you go in the process, it gives you real empathy.
It gives you empathy. There you go.
Yeah.
It's back to the merciful thing.
Yeah.
And I can see a bunch of views on the side, whatever, cool. I know I'm going to go speak to them. But if you are not involved in youth work, you shouldn't, I know it can be easy to feel maybe intimidated, or maybe easy to feel a bit uneasy. And don't force it. But
speaking, it doesn't have to be a deep conversation. It can be, how are you?
How are you? Or smiling or something.
Smiling.
No, don't make it weird. Don't make it weird.
Yeah. You're going to be going back to Birmingham.
Yep. More tomorrow, yeah.
Okay, staying in London.
Yeah, staying in London.
Nice. But it's been really good. I look forward to working with you more, to an extent working, and I'll be coming to Dream Chasers 100%. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. I'm looking forward to just seeing the work on the ground.
100%. I love the work you're doing as well. Whilst we're here and we're sharing our appreciation, because your organisation has helped up level Dream Chasers in a very positive way. So I'm only say thank you for that.
No, thank you for trusting us and giving us the opportunity. With that, we conclude. May Allah bless you, accept it from you.
I mean,
may Allah allow your work to be successful. With that we conclude. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونستغفر الله وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.